Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
We have Miss Toni Rose is with us. Toni, welcome to the Paul Harrell program.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I am doing well. And I want to tell everybody you are starting this organization called An American Speaks. Tell us what this organization's all about.
Well, An American Speaks was formed in mid to late 2014 after my business partner, Mike Bishop, was wrongfully fired from the Eureka Springs Chamber of Commerce as president. He issued a statement regarding their hastily passed SOGI law. The executive board approved it, and he had run it by them, but the liberal folks in Eureka Springs complained about it. The board backed down and fired him. Now, he sued them, and he won. I left on principle, and we joined with others in the community to force the SOGI law to a vote, which we did, and we lost big time. The conservative community was so intimidated by the really loud, aggressive activists that they stayed home and drove.
Remind us what SOGI law. Remind us what SOGI law stands for again, for those of you that don't know the acronym.
Sexual orientation, gender identity.
There we go.
A lot of people refer to it as the bathroom law.
Ah, right.
Yeah, and this was way back, although it wasn't that long ago. The bakers and the florists had just started losing their jobs. And here we had lost ours, too, over the exact same thing. We just weren't very famous for it. And decided if it was happening to us, it was happening by the thousands, and we wanted to do something about it.
Wow.
So we lobby for the rights of traditional American values and wholesome communities. We monitor what's being done with our existing and proposed laws. We educate communities. We bring them together. We work with them to push back on the encroachment of federal and state initiatives such as Title IX and liberal groups like Freedom from Religion. Mike lives in Harrison, where he's lived for decades with his wife, Dale. And I moved from Eureka Springs to Little Rock so I could spend a little bit more time at the Capitol.
Yeah.
You and I have passed each other many times.
Oh, we have. Well,
we have. I usually have a couple of Bibles under my arm. We have a Bibles for Legislators program that folks sponsor to get the Patriots Bible into the hands of our legislators.
Well, that's good. That may be the best idea I've ever heard, is to hand out Bibles down there. Good grief. Yeah,
spread the word.
Well, yeah. Well. Next time we cross paths, we certainly need to speak in person. So.
Yeah, you'll recognize me when you see me.
Okay.
I will.
So I've got an article here. The organization is An American Speaks, again, founded in 2014. An article from the Harrison Daily. Citizens can choose to have medical marijuana dispensaries in their counties or not. That's the message that you guys are trying to send with this specific issue of medical marijuana. So let's talk about what your goal is there. But first, specifically, what are your thoughts on the current state of things, medical marijuana, and how we got to this point?
You know, over half of, or right at half of the counties in Arkansas voted against it. And, you know, most people, and we've turned it down before, are very much against recreational marijuana. But, you know, the money that pours in from the marijuana industry has done a really good job of talking about babies with strokes and with seizures and
epilepsy,
tugging at the heartstrings. And lots of folks know somebody that had a child with cancer and things like that. So people voted with their heart, I believe. And a lot of people voted because they just want legal marijuana.
Yeah.
And that's, if you look at the voting map, you have huge populations in Pulaski County and Washington County that really tip the scales against a lot of the many, many small counties that didn't want it. So we're, generally not in favor of medical marijuana or legalized marijuana, period, for a number of reasons, a number of health reasons, as well as Surgeon General Dr. Bledsoe and, at least half a dozen or more people that we could name, like UAMS and Arkansas Children's and the Center for Health Improvement and the Arkansas Department of Health. I mean, it's a long list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's especially with our young people, because studies have shown that under the age of 24, people that habitually smoke marijuana never regain their cognitive abilities. And it suppresses the dopamine, the natural substance that stimulates pleasure and drive, which is really important for our guys to get a job.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I want to stop you right there, because I will say that, we talked about this back when the medical marijuana issue was on the ballot, and how, look, I understand the medical arguments for people that, need it. They say they need it. But the bottom line is this was a foot in the door for recreational use. And me personally, Toni, I voted against it only because it was for recreational use. But that's not what they were telling everybody. And I say that knowing that there were people that probably, I had people that text my program that said that they were a nurse and that until they started smoking marijuana, now they're smoking it, and all of their other pain medicines for their chronic pain, they don't even use anymore of these prescriptions. There are real stories out there like that. But this was all about the money, and this was all about kind of misrepresenting where we're going. It would have been a much simpler. If the amendment had been, hey, we're going to vote on whether or not it's legal for you to grow a plant and do what you want to with it in your own home, that would have been, nobody would have made any money off of that, or not nearly the amount of money we're talking about here. And so that's the key reason I voted against, is just because I thought it was misleading, and we weren't able to have the public debate that I really think we needed to have on this issue. It's more of a gradual to try to get to the legalization aspect of it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you're spot on there. There's so much misinformation, Paul, about this, and one of the least known aspects of the amendment that was in the original issue 6 that we voted on was the local option. And of course, it's now Amendment 98, Arkansans Against Legalized Marijuana. Well, Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment of 2016. But nobody knows that there is a local option. And so, you're all for individual decisions and accountability, and we feel the same way about our cities and counties, is that, by golly, if those 30-some-odd people who voted against it don't want it, then they shouldn't have to have it.
Yeah. So
we started talking to. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So your goal now, and American Speaks now, you guys are trying to limit where these medical marijuana dispensaries go, because they're going to go somewhere. And you're saying there may be some people that don't want it in their communities, and so they should have a right to say, we'd rather the dispensary be somewhere else. Am I saying that right?
Essentially, we want people to know. We've talked to sheriffs, mayors, city clerks, county clerks. No one knows that the local option is in this amendment. Nobody knows about it. Mm-hmm. So we, want to educate people that it's an option. Number 2, we've started the process. We filed our BQC today, Ballot Question Committee, Statement of Organization today. We're doing this in conjunction. It was kind of an accident. We were in the same meeting, but Family Council was planning to do something as well. So we've partnered up with them, Arkansas Faith, and Families Council, and so a group of us are going to be attacking this at the same time. We're not really ready to do a major announcement because we're still putting some of the forms together. But since we have an opportunity to talk about it, to let people know that it's available, we're starting on our end in Boone County, and we just want people to know that it's an option. If they want to help us with a petition drive and get it on the ballot, that gives them an opportunity to vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they vote against it, then they won't have dispensaries or grow facilities in their city or county. And if they don't go vote against it, then they'll have an opportunity to have them in their county.
So you're saying...
And we want to help people with that.
Exactly. You're wanting to help. If there's anybody that wants to start this and exercise this part of the amendment, saying, look, we don't want it in our city, or you can say we don't want it in our county. So it could be is localized to a city or as broad as a county. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
That's correct. The rules are on the local option is that 15% of the legal voters of either the city or the county can order the referendum, and the required signatures in the municipalities are based on the total vote cast for the office of mayor at the last general election, or in counties upon the office of city clerk.
Okay.
So if you had 2,000 people vote in one of those, then you have to have at least 15% of those signatures on the petition,
right.
Sorry, and then you can get it on the ballot.
So let's go ahead and we're talking with Toni Rose from the organization An American Speaks. Again, they're trying to just educate people and assist them if they want to start petitions in their own local communities for this, to say, hey, we don't want a dispensary here. What's the website? If people are listening right now across the state and they say, hey, I want to look into this, what's the website?
Well, they can check us out at anamericanspeaks.com. And there's places to contact us. There's resource pages. They can learn all about us and get in touch with us.
All right. AnAmericanSpeaks.com. That's AnAmericanSpeaks.com.
A-N.
Yeah, A-N. So,
right. And
go ahead.
They can follow us on Facebook like they follow you.
Absolutely, they can.
At American Speaks. And they can email us at Toni, T-O-N-I, at AmericanSpeaks.com.
All right. Toni Rose, hey, keep us posted. Let's stay in touch on this. I appreciate you coming on the program and talking about kind of where we are with medical marijuana, and I hope you have a great day.
Hey, you too. Thanks
a lot,
Paul.
Toni Rose, everybody. The number to call, text, let us know, 870-275-9799. Back in just a moment.